What's up, my sweethearts? What's up? What it do? My sweethearts, it's your motherfucking girl, Jennifer M. the realest. I hope you got your lights all the way up. My sweethearts, let me go in on this Diddy case, okay? Where the fuck is your lights at? My sweethearts, let me go in on this Diddy case. First of all, I'ma just say this. I'm not a fan of a motherfucking soul. I'm not a fan of no one no more. I'm a fan of myself. Straight up. I'm not playing. This nigga dirty. It's a lot of, from what I'm really hearing, my sweethearts, let me slow it up. Every motherfucking body dirty. For real, for real. Except for Terrence Howard and 50 Cent. I really feel like everybody in this motherfucker, in these industries, are some dirty mother effers. I could never fuck with a nigga in the industry. They better stay away from me. If I could ever get close to an industry, man, this industry don't even want me to be popular on YouTube. Fuck popularity, straight up. That popularity shit come with this nasty shit calling freak offs. The names of the people, I cannot just just sit here and describe how disturbed I am. That's why I don't trust none of you. You motherfuckers, they better stay the fuck away from me. I wish I would. Nasty motherfuckers. These stars nasty. That's why I said it ain't just stars. It's these motherfuckers with this money. Stars, church members. That's why I don't go. My sweethearts, the things that happen behind closed doors is really disturbing. The things these people, the things that get done to people to get to the top. This just like YouTube. You gotta fight everyone just to get cash apps. You gotta be dug in children and dug in people to get money to fight and get views. This shit, the decisions that motherfuckers gotta make to become who they want to become, not need to become. The decisions these motherfuckers make to become who they want to become is sad. Now, Diddy children, his two girls, they got, because they are older, they gotta see and hear about their daddy being a freaked off, not just with women, not just beating on women, going up booty holes with men. Now, if he was just gay, okay, you're gay, okay. But that's not what Puffy portray out here. He don't portray like he's gay or he like men, and that's not how he portrays himself in the industry. So to do all this pedophilia stuff to men behind closed doors, allegedly, yes, allegedly pedophile. This is gay. And yes, this gets dug walk because Puffy's supposed to not be gay. He's supposed to be a straight man. That's how he portrays himself. Now, my sweethearts, with the Cassidy thing, now to watch her, like to get sex men in there to do all that and stuff like that, like I'm not gonna judge that right there, okay? He beating on her. We've been seeing that. I've been seeing Puffy in the Cassie thing since he been with her. Now that's the only thing I have seen like in the public eye is the Cassie situation, and that's real. We've been seeing Cassie like we've been hearing about that like really. Now if anyone believed it, I don't know, but we've been hearing about the Cassie situation. Now all this other shit, Will Smith allegedly Meek Mill. Will Smith supposed to be alleged, like out here they say they got him kissing on his son. Will Smith and Dwayne Martin allegedly having sex. That's what I heard out here on the on the TV, my sweethearts, on all this news shit. I cannot believe this. Terrence Howard going live. He ain't gonna play with him. That's why I say it's Terrence Howard, 50 Cent. They not losing their soul and integrity, they said. That's exactly what Terrence Howard said. He said these motherfucking men is losing their souls, losing their integrity to get this money. And I believe that. Cause it's people on YouTube and they lower than Diddy and them losing their integrity on here. Elderly, children, doing anything they can to go viral, showing their body, knowing they old on here. It's a lot of stuff going on here on the internet. So I can imagine the big money. They calling Harvey Weinstein, Jeffrey, and Diddy, and I forgot the other man name. They calling them the gay mafia. What? That's why I said money talk bullshit walk. This is sad. This is sad. This is sad. And you think that's it stop there? It don't stop there. They say they doing things to get where they are at, giving up your manhood or man card. Terrence Howard said it. They giving up their man card, getting punked out and pimped out. That's exactly what Terrence Howard said. Verbatim, verbatim. 50 Cent went on there. He was like, Meek Mill said yes, and he said no. This is sad. The niggas that y'all thought was real tough niggas. Allegedly, Meek Mill dressing like Puffy, which it is true because I seen the video. They got them dressing alike. It's sad. Yo, they even allegedly put Jay-Z, Beyonce, saying they was witnesses to shit. This is crazy. They gotta get down and they better get down or they gonna lay down. That's basically what got said to these people. Basically, that's what got said to them. Puffy basically said to them, y'all gonna get down or y'all laying down. That's crazy. You think that's something. Then they go deeper. They go and then they got the man that's locked up talking about DJ Khaled, Rick Ross. They straight said gay. He's straight saying it. This is crazy. Like I say, it's a lot of shit. That's why I don't fuck with stars. Straight up. Because I know that creep shit going on. Because they do anything for the motherfucking dollar. Nobody want to go back to them hoods. Nobody want to go back to hungry. That's why they laying down. I ain't doing I mean, that's why they getting down. Because they don't want to lay down. Huh. They getting down with all that shit. So they don't want to lay down. They don't want to die. They don't want to get killed. They don't want their name being out there. So they trying to lay down for that money. I mean, get down for the money. You know what I'm saying, my sweethearts? This is fucked up. Then they go on and name Jay-Z again, Beyonce with LeBron James. Talking about these are witnesses. This is crazy. It go on and on and on. Poor Justin Bieber. Poor Justin Bieber talking about he need to talk and he been fighting demons because they done did him wrong. This is sad. This is sad as fuck. After this come out, you don't want to fuck with none of them stars. Fuck them stars for real. Straight up. They can get the word fuck you too, just like a regular motherfucking human being can get the word fuck you. Straight the fuck up. It's sad. You gotta sell your soul to be with these motherfuckers to get down. I told you they can't give everybody money. They give the wrong motherfuckers money and they doing the wrong shit with money. Cause they got higher power up and they think they the shit. So they wanna dug y'all out and they don't know what to do with that money. Everybody in this bitch living these freaky ass lives just to get paid. I'm gonna let y'all hear a little bit, my sweetheart, of what the news saying about it. So we don't gotta hear me saying it, but we damn sure gonna hear the news. And y'all can't say the news line. It's said. So this is inside day three of this freak ass shit from Sean Diddy Combs trial. This don't make no sense. It's sick and disgusting. And this is what our men do with their money. Our straight men. These ain't supposed to be gay men. These supposed to be our straight men. Let's go. It's sad. That's all I gotta say. It
Good
is.
evening. Thank you for joining us. Day 3 of testimony.
My sweetheart, this is Brian Pitt's news. I mean, on the news and stuff like that. This is crazy, disgusting. Wait a minute, my sweetheart.
And just a warning, this story contains accounts, descriptions, and visual content of actual or alleged events that some may find disturbing.
Good morning, day 3 of the trial. Do you have anything to say at all? Anything to say?
Under the pouring rain and stormy skies in New York City.
Good morning.
Day 3 of testimony in the federal sex trafficking and racketeering trial against Sean Diddy Combs got underway this morning.
How we feel? Anything to say this morning?
Today, the so-called freak-offs and allegations of horrific abuse were front and center.
What we heard from Cassie is a woman that was broken, a woman that's scarred, a woman that's hurt physically, emotionally, psychologically.
In graphic, lurid detail, Combs' former girlfriend, Cassie Ventura, testifying what she says happened behind closed doors during those now infamous so-called freak-offs.
So Cassie, when she testified about these freak-offs, she said that it started early in the relationship. She was young, she was naive, and she wanted to satisfy Combs. But she didn't think that this was something that was going to be regular. And it became almost on a weekly basis.
And it got to a point where, as she testified about it,
Wait a
she
minute,
said,
my sweetheart.
"This was my."
A weekly basis, Sean Combs is sitting here getting his allegedly woman fucked by the Punisher and things like that, my sweethearts. That was the man's name. You telling me you have a woman, but you getting her fucked on a regular basis every week. I don't want to be no parts of him. I don't want to be no parts of his girlfriend. I don't give a fuck if it's called I want to please him. These ain't no motherfucking kings. All these are rich motherfuckers. They ain't God. I don't know who the fuck these motherfuckers think they are. You know I'm gonna run this bitch just like that. This shit out of hand. Bitch, if I ain't pleasing you in a bed, who the fuck you think you are? Cause you all million dead out.
This is what I did.
Cassie seated in the witness box once again.
They had to call their star witness out of order because she is 9 months pregnant. She's due June 1st.
She says she participated in hundreds of freak-offs during her 11-year relationship with the music mogul. Combs has pleaded not.
My sweethearts, I'm sorry again. This girl was in hundreds of freak offs. You're not having my body just freaked all out because you Sean Diddy Combs. Do y'all see this? The level of going above and beyond for money? I wish I would. No, no, no. Like Terrence Howard said, I ain't selling my soul. You can't come back from that. Hundreds of freak offs. But it was okay. Just why? Because it was for her man, Sean Puffy Combs. Because he got money. So sell your body to please this bitch. If y'all can get R. Kelly for pissing, this motherfucker ain't no better.
To all the charges against him. Diddy is, of course, known as a prominent recording artist going back decades. Hits like I'll Be Missing You.
Give anything to hear half your breath. I know you
My
still
sweetheart,
living
it
your
don't
life.
make no sense. I am just distraught. I am so distraught in Diddy. And this is what you do. So you telling me this what you was doing, Diddy, when Biggie was alive? You got real fucking fans out here.
The Grammy Salute to Industry Icons Award.
And I want to thank everybody here from the bottom of my heart, that really cared about me.
Diddy launched into superstardom after founding Bad Boy Records in 1993 and his own successful clothing line, Sean John, in 1998. Sean Combs wasn't just a rapper, wasn't just a business person. He was this bigger than life mogul. So, what's at stake for him? Everything is at stake for him. He has been in a federal detention facility in Brooklyn, New York. It's not a nice place, and he has been there since last year. He looks like he has been there since last year.
Good.
Federal prison is not a nice place to be. He was worth about $750 million when this started. Reportedly, he's now worth less than half of that. Cassie saying that for the first time publicly on the stand, that Combs settled her 2023 civil lawsuit with her for $20 million. Although he settled without admitting wrongdoing, that suit set the stage for the epic fall from grace for the embattled industry titan. She said that the freak-offs left her emotionally empty, at one point saying she contemplated suicide. I was spinning out and I didn't want to be alive anymore at that point, adding that she tried to walk out the front door into traffic. What the jury saw was a person that was broken. That is what the jury saw. At one point, federal prosecutors opted to show the jury a series of 7 pictures they said were taken from video recordings of freak-offs that Cassie said Combs forced her to make.
We saw visceral reactions to these photos of the freak-offs. And part of the strategy here is to give a fuller understanding of these. The depravity, the rooms, the violence, the sex.
Having tried so many of these cases in your career as a federal prosecutor, what's it like for Cassie Ventura having to sit on stage and bare her soul in this way? The courtroom is very crowded. She is talking about some of the worst things that could ever happen to anyone. She has explained that she is humiliated, that she is ashamed.
I bet.
That she is a recovering addict. And so this is a woman who, regardless of whether or not he is found guilty, this is a very brave woman. At one point during the timeline of their relationship, Cassie and Combs split up, and she began dating rapper Kid Cudi. But she said ultimately broke things off. Cassie saying there was, quote, too much danger, too much uncertainty of, like, what could happen if we continue to see each other. Cassie later testified that Combs had told her he was going to hurt her and Kid Cudi, and later spoke of arson. Scott's car would be blown up, Cassie said Combs told her. Sean wanted Scott's friends to be there to see the car get blown up in the driveway.
It was her understanding that Sean Combs had something to do with it. That he had the ability to use force enough to blow up someone's car far away from him to send a message. And for the government, that message is to fall in line. And that's why we're talking about it in this case.
Several times, prosecutors directed the line of questioning to instances of alleged violence Cassie says Combs inflicted on her. With tears in her eyes, she described those harrowing moments from that dramatic 2016 video captured by security cameras at a Los Angeles hotel, in which she says she tried to escape a freak-off, with Combs throwing a vase full of flowers at her and pursued her down the hallway in a towel. I just remembered it coming towards me, she said. I didn't get hit. I remembered hitting the wall. He was just yelling at me and threw it at me.
She talked about the actual fear that she felt as Sean Combs came barreling down that hallway, and she stayed there, cowered in a corner.
After the incident, Combs texting Cassie, imploring her to call him. Cassie texting back, I have a premiere Monday for the biggest thing I've ever done in my life. I have a black eye and a fat lip. It was time for me to go. You are sick for thinking it's okay to do what you've done. Please stay far away from me. Pointing out photos from a March 2016 movie premiere after party, which allegedly showed.
You heard that, my sweethearts? He beating on her, beating her up because she don't want to stay at freak offs. He want her there. He is sick, nasty, got hidden agendas, and that's what money pay for. That's what motherfucking money pay for. And that's why I'm not too uh uh crazy over, oh, money, money, money. No, when you got too much money, you don't know what the fuck to do with that money, and you do shit like this, hurting other people, thinking it's okay to do people like this, sex, taking it from people. This is not cool, it's not okay, and that's why I said, my sweethearts, fuck money. And that's why I like Terrence Howard for standing on business. Let's go. Wait a minute, my sweetheart. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. 1 second. It said, this is said.
Show bruises on her right leg. As you sit in court, you see Cassie laser focused on the person who's asking questions. But it's this easy for her to turn and look at Sean Combs. But she never did that during the entirety of the case. The testimony has been graphic, disturbing. What's been the mood like in the courtroom as the jurors listen to that kind of detail?
I can say that this is probably the most disturbing case I've ever heard.
Me too.
The, the jurors seem stunned at much of the information.
Combs' attorneys have argued in their opening statement. When it comes to the 11-year relationship between Cassie Ventura and Sean Combs, she was a consenting participant in the freak-offs.
I think what the prosecution must do is explain through expert testimony what a survivor of sex crimes, what that kind of behavior can look like. And it can very much look like consensual behavior. They also need to explain what grooming looks like, how sexual predators can groom and push boundaries until someone feels like what they are doing is normal.
Many people will have the question of, well, he allegedly beat you these many times. Why did you continue staying with him? Cassie testified that the person that controlled her finances, that 10-album deal that she had, who made the determination of whether she releases an album or not, was who? Sean Combs. And that because of that power dynamic, it's hard and very difficult for the person to be able to walk away.
At baseline, when you hear this, there's a heaviness and a sadness that.
So my sweethearts, he was trying to own them, get something over their heads so he could own them. That's exactly what Puffy was doing. That's why I said when you got money, you got power. And that's why he's worth half of what the fuck he was worth before he walked through them bars. That's why they taking everything from him. Endorsements probably going down, everything. He losing it all. He losing it all as he should. Let's go.
Allegedly went through probably some of the most horrific things I've ever heard. And a man who had it all, threw it all away. Even someone without my legal experience is disturbed, troubled, and quite frankly, saddened.
My sweethearts, and he is disturbed, it is sad. It is straight up is. Doing women like that, men like that, not just women, doing a lot of men like that. Cassie is the first woman I'm hearing getting beat, but doing a men, you sleeping with men and all that. Sean Puffy, really? I didn't even know Puffy was into that. Into men. We gonna hear some more of my sweethearts of this sick son of a bitch. That's just straight what he is, a sick son of a bitch. It's said. And he got a nerve be messing with everybody, all these girlfriends. No. Let's go, my sweethearts.
Personal assistant David James back on the witness stand. So James delivered compelling and at times emotional testimony yesterday, giving jurors an inside look at Combs' luxurious lifestyle with ex-girlfriend Cassie Ventura and their rocky relationship. NBC News entertainment correspondent Chloe Malas joining us now with more. Chloe, last week laid this out for us. The prosecutors really building the foundation of their case with Cassie Ventura's testimony. But this week, they seem to now be focusing on calling witnesses who can support her allegations. So what have we learned so far from the testimony, and how are Combs' attorneys responding to that?
Hey there, Sam. So one of the things that's vital for the prosecution to make their case is to try to prove this RICO conspiracy charge. And how do they do that? They need employees. They need people that work for Combs that were allegedly carrying out illegal activity at his behest. And so you heard again today, I was in the courthouse listening to David James's testimony, and it got contentious at points between himself when he was being cross-examined by one of Combs's attorneys, Mark Agnifilo, and at one point, he was even asked himself about hiring a prostitute and bringing it back to Combs's home without his knowledge, buying cocaine without Combs's knowledge. So again, it's what did Combs know? What did he not know? What were these employees doing on their own accord? Or were they really carrying out this RICO conspiracy? And
if they was doing it without him knowing it, they were doing it behind his back because he was allowing it. So they were doing exactly what he was doing. That's all that was going on. And this shit is said. They was saying that Puffy doing it, why we can't do it. That's exactly what was going on up in that motherfucker. He had them in there doing it. They seen him doing it, so they start doing it. That ain't hard to know. And it said, my sweethearts, Usher, Neo. I mean, good Lord, who the fuck else ain't in there? That's why I said all them stars, they are suspect. Let's go, my sweethearts, all them suspects. All of them. That's why I wouldn't touch a star. Star my ass. I'm a star. That's what a star. Let's go.
Sean Combs is connected to a lot of big names, Hollywood, and the music industry. That's not breaking news, but it was a bit of a surprise this week when Usher and Neo's names came up during testimony. The witness that brought up Neo and Usher was Dawn Richard. She was once a member of the singing group Danity Kane. That group was signed to Diddy's label, Bad Boy Records, and she also sang for another bad boy group called Diddy Dirty Money. Sean Combs was actually part of that group. It was a trio. They had a few songs that came out between 2009 and 2011. Prosecutors called Richard to testify. Now, before I get into the moment where Usher and Neo were brought up, I want to take you through her testimony and what led to the point that she brought their names into this. Now, Richard told prosecutors in 2009, she witnessed Sean Combs allegedly attack his then girlfriend, Cassandra Ventura, the singer known as Cassie, who has already testified in this trial that she was abused by Combs physically and sexually during their 10-year relationship that ended in 2018. Now, here's a line in the transcript where Richard said, quote, "I observed Cassie being attacked, and then when asked who attacked Cassie, she answered, quote, she was attacked by Sean Combs. In the incident in 2009 that Richard talked about, she said she was recording music at Combs's LA home. Cassie was making eggs, and then Combs comes downstairs, quote, angry, and was saying where the expletive was his eggs. Excuse my language. And he was telling Cassie that she never gets anything right, where the expletive is his food. And he proceeded to come over to her, took the skillet with the eggs in it, and then tried to hit her over the head with it, and she fell to the ground. Richard told prosecutors that she witnessed Diddy allegedly attack Cassie multiple times, physically beating her. And while she was a member of Diddy Dirty Money between 2009 and 2011, she said it was frequent that she would see these things. She said that Combs would, quote, punch her, choke her, drag her, slap her in the mouth. I saw him kick her, punch her in the stomach.
I'm telling you now, my sweethearts, you see this? He beating on that girl. Beating her, throwing skillets up her head. I'm telling you, Diddy, you could have done that to me. Let you would have beat me through skillets up my head. Let you go night-night. Let you go night-night. You want some grits? You want some oatmeal? Let you did that to me. Let you go night-night. You want some grits and oatmeal? That's not fair. Beating on that small girl like that, just beating her up. That's all Diddy was doing. Look like an abusive bitch. Let's go, my sweethearts.
When it comes to Usher and Neo, their names are brought up related to an incident in 2010 that happened at a restaurant in California. Dawn Richard was asked about this incident both by the prosecution and defense, but it's interesting how her answers and the details she gives are different depending on the questions that are asked. Richard was asked about that incident. It was in West Hollywood, California. There was a restaurant, a dinner with a lot of powerful people in 2010. And at that dinner, Richard says Diddy allegedly punched Cassie in the stomach. She said, quote, we were having a private conversation, and when we're all sitting, eating at the tables together, when I say we, I mean some bad boys, some of our other label, and some celebrities were in the room, and they were secretly arguing, and he punched her in the stomach. Sean Combs punched her in the stomach. The prosecution then asks, quote, who, if any of Mr. Combs' employees were present? And Richard says Harv Pierre, Capricorn Clark, Mia, D-Rock, Bonds, myself, and Kalina Harper. Now, the prosecution then asks Richard about Harv Pierre. He was a bad boy executive, and he answered to Sean Diddy Combs. The prosecution also asked how, quote, employees reacted to Combs allegedly punching Cassie in the stomach, to which Richard answered, they didn't. No one intervened. We didn't. I want to take a break from this story and bring you a law and crime legal alert. If you were given a Depo-Provera birth control shot and were later diagnosed with a brain or a spinal tumor, you may be eligible for a lawsuit. Morgan & Morgan is investigating
That's
claims that
sad, my
patients were
sweetheart.
not proper.
It is sad. Give me 1 second. It is sad.
Didn't really follow that line in their questioning. They did ask about bad boy employees who were present at the restaurant, to which Richard named people like Combs, the bodyguard D-Rock, Pierre, the executive. But then the defense had their chance at cross-examination, and through their questioning is when we saw those big names drop. The defense asked Richard, please tell me who was all at this restaurant. Richard answers, Harv Pierre, Capricorn Clark, Mia, and myself, Kalina, our bodyguards, which was Bonds, and D-Rock, Cassie. The question continues with the defense asking, you remember who was all there, right? And Richard says, mm-hmm. The defense asks, do you recall alleging several celebrities were actually there? And Richard says yes, and the defense then says, quote, so when the government asked you who was all there, and I asked you who was all there right now, you didn't mention any of the celebrities, right? Right. Richard says. The defense then asks Richard to name the celebrities. And then she says, quote, Usher was there, Jimmy Levine was there, Neo came through. There were a few others too. I don't recall those people, but those are the ones I remember talking to. The defense then pressed Richard a bit, asking why she didn't say those names before when she was asked about who was there by the defense. And Richard says she was just repeating what she told the government in their direct examination. Usher and Diddy go back decades. Usher lived with Combs for a year, actually, when he was just a rising star in the music industry. He was 13, 14 years old at the time. Usher actually spoke about living with Combs in an interview 8 years ago on the Howard Stern show. Here's part of what he said. You're going to go to Puff Daddy's. He's in the 90s. Do you understand what that's like? Puffy's place was like just filled with chicks and orgying like nonstop, right? No, not really. I mean, but there, hey, it was curious. I got a chance to see some things. Now, as far as Grammy winner Neo, he is someone who has been known to be a friend of Diddy and to be in the same social circles over the years. He faced backlash for a comment he made in the wake of Diddy's arrest during a performance.
You're Usher? I was curious. I bet.
New Zealand last year, where he reportedly said, quote, on stage, I was sexually assaulted and I liked it. I had a great time and I'd do it again. He later apologized for that and said, quote, in an attempt to be playful with my fans, I made an insensitive and irresponsible joke while on tour, and I'd like to truly apologize from the bottom of my heart. This is according to the UK media outlet, The Metro. Now, the other name that Richard mentioned was Jimmy Levine. He is a music legend. He is known as the co-founder of Interscope Records. So
So Jimmy Levine, a big time person.
powerful person in the music industry.
Powerful
It's important to
person.
note that in her testimony, Richard did not specifically say that any of the three actually witnessed that alleged moment where Combs punched Ventura in the stomach, but she did say that they were allegedly there that night. Now, none of the three have released statements since their names were brought up in court. Combs is on trial. He's expected to be on trial for roughly 7 more weeks. He's charged with racketeering, sex trafficking by force, and transportation to engage in prosecution. He has pleaded not guilty. Joining us now, once again, to talk about this case is former prosecutor and criminal defense attorney Safa Robinson-Ferrer. Always great to have you on Law and Crime. Usher's name, he comes up yesterday, and that was kind of a moment where people clearly recognize who Don Richard was talking about. What should we take away from that anecdote and the fact that Usher's name was brought up?
The fact that Usher's name was brought up, I think one of two things about it. On one hand, it's irrelevant. It doesn't go to prove or disprove whether Mr. Combs is guilty of the charges as alleged in the indictment. On the other hand, I do think that it provides background information that there were other individuals that could have possibly observed these alleged assaults or attacks on Ms. Ventura. Not only that, but if the government intends on establishing a timeline or a pattern of events with respect to Mr. Combs, his enterprise, and their dealings with individuals from the public or in the industry, it's good to note that the allegation, or at least the testimony, came in that Usher was involved with Mr. Combs early on in his career when he was approximately, I believe, 14 years of age. That he had gone to some sort of academy through Mr. Combs' enterprise or business. And the government can certainly use that to show a long pattern of behavior, dealings that he may have had with other individuals in the industry, and also to establish that Mr. Combs and Ms. Ventura had this long-standing relationship, that not only, there were a select few that got to observe, but that publicly some of these allegations or allegations of violence happened, and that other people observed those things.
And when we look at the transcript, and I have it here.
And that said, Usher at 14, Justin Bieber at a young age. This is ridiculous. Yes, this is wrong. And where are the fucking parents? I know, money talk, bullshit walk, huh? They basically saying, my sweethearts, that this witness here didn't want to mention Usher and Neo. And they trying to say that they not going to try to believe this witness. Well, the jury can not believe this witness if they don't want to, because they didn't try to mention Usher and Neo.
Participating in a government investigation, you're presumed and you should tell the truth, the whole truth, and the full truth. And you failed to disclose a significant thing, which were the other individuals that were present. You failed to disclose that to the government. And now it's only today, as you're testifying, that we're just now hearing of these other individuals, Usher Raymond, Neo, and other executive producers that were involved or possibly witnesses to the case. Again, striking at her credibility because she did not tell the full truth at the time she was asked by the government, which later down the line during closing arguments, the defense can get up and say, Ms. Richard testified A, B, and C to you. However, she failed to disclose X, Y, and Z, and that's why you shouldn't believe her. That's why you should not give her the credibility that the judge is going to instruct you on, and the jury can take that into consideration.
And one thing that's been apparent throughout all the witnesses thus far is clearly this was a relationship that had a lot of domestic violence incidents, but this isn't a domestic violence case. Yet it seems like there's a lot of people who witnessed physical abuse, and in this case you have Usher and Neo. I mean, these are A-list celebrities who are seeing Sean Combs punch his girlfriend allegedly in the stomach, which is something that you would think if you saw that on the outside, if you think you'd stop that, you would step in, you would say something, but apparently they didn't, according to Don Richard's testimony. Does any of that, the fact that he was doing this out in the open, play towards taking some of the domestic violence incidents, but showing that it was a much larger thing, which is what the government's trying to prove?
So with respect to the other individuals being present, although there's an allegation that they were present, and they're not really allegations, it's just background facts, I don't know that Ms. Richard has testified that they actually observed the striking. Maybe they did, maybe they did not. But I don't think that that's going to do any benefit for the government as far as knowing that these things happened more broadly. I mean, it's clear as day that this case is rooted in domestic violence, that Mr. Combs was domestically violent towards Ms. Ventura, whether it was isolated behind closed doors and just Ms. Ventura, and they're a close select few were testifying to this, or on a grander scale where, a select few and publicly people can testify or people have observed these allegations, whether it was just one or whether it was many. Testimony is evidence, and whether that was testimony from one person or testimony from multiple people, the jury can still consider that as evidence in determining whether Mr. Combs is guilty or not guilty. If these individuals observe that, then, the hope would be that someone would have intervened earlier on. But again, it doesn't negate
That's
the
what I
fact
was going to
that,
say. You heard that? They saying that motherfucker should have intervened earlier. Like, you telling me everybody's scared of Puffy. Y'all let Cassie just get her ass beat. Everybody would have died if they would have jumped up to stop Puffy for beating on Cassie or jumped in it. Everybody would have died. This is crazy. I ain't hanging with nobody like that then. He ain't getting my money. He not getting no support or nothing. If he beating on Cassie and y'all jump up to stop a man for beating a woman, you telling me he's gonna murder everyone. Well, do you know what? It ain't no men there then. Because a man should stand up. And you telling me everybody can get murdered? Like everyone? This is sad. This sad. I wouldn't been at his party.
Here are racketeering, sex trafficking, and things of that nature. One of the things the government is alleging is the use of force. So I think that's why we continue to hear this domestically violent line of questioning. And I think the government is hoping that the jurors will view this as satisfactory to the element requiring requiring force, physical force of violence.
Yeah, and to your point, I'll just looking at this transcript, you're right. Yeah, it's Usher was there, Jimmy Levine was there, Neo came through. So it's saying that they were there, not necessarily that they witnessed the abuse that Dawn Richard said happened at this dinner. What did you make of her testimony now that she's off the stand?
You know what? It was pretty interesting testimony. I don't know that she was a necessary witness, although the government deemed her to be necessary. Miss Ventura got on the stand and testified about the abuse, testified about what happened to her. Miss Richard seemingly came up behind her and corroborated for the government those allegations. And I don't think there was even a question about that. The hotel footage came into evidence. Ms. Ventura testified, so now Ms. Richard is here testifying to more allegations of domestic violence. And the government has to be really careful here because the way that it is being painted at this point is that this is a domestically violent case, which is true. But the government needs to prove a RICO. They need to prove sex trafficking. They don't need to prove domestic violence, and it can certainly confuse the issues with the jury.
It must be yours. I already knew that. I knew they didn't have to prove the violent stuff because they had that on tape. We seen that. Like, we really did see Puffy beating on her in the hallways, and they had tapes on that. Yes, they need to prove that other stuff that he's doing. The baby oil, the Rico case, and all that, the gay stuff that he doing to the guys, I guess unwillingly and things like that, must be also getting them drugged up, and that's what they need to do. Straight up. They do. Because they do know about that beating. That ain't no goddamn secret. Just pull the shit out, get his ass for that, and that's what it is. Cause yes, he been beating on that child. You know what I'm saying? And been out there. It been out there. Motherfuckers been knowing that. So they need to Doug walk his ass for that and the rest of this shit.
The scandal expands, threatening to unravel their careers and send them to prison for decades. The web of corruption is tightening, and as we warned the world, it was only a matter of time before Jay-Z would be knocked off his high horse. Now, he's being dragged kicking and screaming into the chaos, facing the very real consequences of his alleged involvement in the scandal that threatens to topple his empire.
Mogul Jay-Z is being accused of raping a 13-year-old girl along with Diddy in a lawsuit that was filed today in New York. The lawsuit states the incident allegedly happened at an MTV VMA after party 24 years ago. Fox News Digital did reach out to Jay-Z's team. They have not heard back yet, but at one point from the lawsuit, quote, many others were present at the after party but did nothing to stop the assault. We, of course, will continue to follow this case.
Forget the Epstein case. I mean, the Diddy files that come out are going to be very damaging.
Yeah, and we knew this was just getting started.
Her testimony was compelling, and the stories are horrific.
I think we all felt like she was going to be that witness because we know that the whole reason that the U.S. Attorney's Office even started their investigation
was because of her lawsuit.
Was because of her lawsuit.
Right.
But maybe they discovered way more once they started looking into this and those are the counts he's facing.
And so far, guys, you're right that they have been focusing a lot on her testimony and on her cross-examination about domestic violence, which is not what he's being charged with. But we've learned that just moments ago, Diddy's own defense read out text messages that Diddy sent to Cassie in 2017 of him saying, "Didn't hear from you, so I just put some plans in motion. Let me know to stop. Surprise package coming in from out of state. Just let me know if I'm headed in the wrong direction and I can cancel." So that is the first time that I have heard or seen them mention anything about what he's actually being charged with, which is the Mann Act.
So what is the? I'm
Well,
sorry.
what is this? Depends on what that surprise package.
Yeah, what's the package?
I would assume a escort coming from out of state.
That's the thing. We can't make that
assume,
assumption.
and that's the thing.
And that does come back to what you're saying about closing the loop.
I listen. He has a huge problem with that with the Mann Act. I mean, because the Mann Act doesn't require force or coercion with Cassie.
It's just the transaction.
It's the transaction. I think he has a huge, with all of the charges, because I think there are, listen, we did a mock jury in one of our Tubi, and we did not in any way prime them to go in any direction. We gave them the jury instructions. They saw evidence in the case. They immediately honed in on racketeering, and they started saying, why is this racketeering with one guy? And they're charging this one guy. They had a real problem with that. They did not have a problem with the Mann Act. They found him guilty on the Mann Act. And they hung 6 to 6 on racketeering. The ovulation we should talk about.
Yes, because this is going to be debated by people, by couples around the country as to what she meant here. So Mr. Combs wrote a text message to Cassie saying, "Do I have your permission to set up freaky fun?" And the defense attorney says to Cassie, "You wrote back to him ovulation." And Cassie said, "Yes."
We can say so right there. That is not even code. She is saying, I do not want to have intercourse.
I do not want to have that freaky fun. I am ovulating, and that's a no without saying no.
That is a no. I don't even think that's debatable.
But
another context, ovulation is when people are trying to have babies.
Okay.
They say, "I'm ovulating. Come home, I'm ovulating. Let's have babies."
Yeah. Although
not here. I agree with you.
Doesn't necessarily mean
it's a freak off.
I mean, from everything we've heard, when he says freaky fun, that's probably a freak off.
So
he says ovulation, but what is interesting is
this
that
is the turn.
She agreed and said, "Okay, we can set this up."
We should get into what they said about kissing, because that's the key.
She does agree to go forward, and what he said to her in a text message was, "Okay, can we kiss a lot?" And the lawyer asked, "What did you say to that?" And she said, "Yes." So
Cassie
it sounds
said
as though she said no to sex, but agreed to a freak off that was more tame with just lots of kissing.
A modified freak off.
Modified.
And then here's the twist again. There are two twists here, and then the twist is
and then I don't understand how much he respect her, my sweethearts. How much fuck can he respect Cassie when he don't mind freak offs? When he don't mind men sleeping with his girl, he's sleeping with men or wanting to watch a man sleep with his girl. Just some real freaky shit. Do you understand me? Some real word freaky shit.
Justifies that the freak off lasted 10 hours.
Diddy said to her, "All right, we're going to start at 10 p.m. and no getting out of character until 8 a.m.
So did they just kiss for? The thing is, they never said what happened.
10 p.m. to 8 p.m. a freak off. He's a fucking perv.
Character.
Well, one of the keys to this, though, to your point, Harvey, is if for 12 hours he stayed respectful and just kissed, then it sounds like they had an agreed-upon consensual freak-off on her terms that she allowed.
Right.
If it turned into sex and she had said ovulation, meaning no at the time, then it sounds more like a forced freak-off. So it does depend on what happened.
But we don't know what happened because they never said.
But remember, it's the defense that's raising this, so I'm guessing they know based on what.
But then why didn't they ask? Why didn't they say, and what happened during the 12
Can I just point out that, she said ovulation and we're assuming that means no, but ovulation is a time when you are most likely to get pregnant, but it's also the time when women are most erotically charged.
Horny.
Well,
yes.
Yes, horny, but not with anybody. Yes, you are. You are horny and all that when you ovulating. But guess what? You don't want to I be ovulating and be horny with anyone because you can have any one baby. Duh. Straight up.
Then makes sense because Diddy says, "What about kissing?" She says, "Okay." So you would think that she's saying, "All right, I'm fine with." You know, the other thing, it's a subtlety, but you know, the other thing I think is really important in that text exchange. He says, "Do I have permission?" Yes, which is exactly why the defense brought it up. That's right. He asked your permission. That's right.
Hey, this is Latrell from Atlanta. You know, the Diddy Cassie trail is definitely monumental, unprecedented, and definitely perplexing. You know, hopefully, if these allegations are true, justice gets served. But I can't say that with Cassie's testimony, it might not be enough. They might need more witnesses in order for this to even go any further.
Yeah, and there will be. They're going to be. Again, there will be. Judges said he expects us to go 8 weeks at least. So. Okay, we are going to take a break. All right. When we come back, Justin Bieber showing off
one second. Wait a minute. My sweethearts, that was let me see what that was. That was the news, my sweethearts. Yes, it was TMC News, and they was letting us know about this nasty freak off, and this is nasty. It is, my sweethearts. First of all right, let me be real as I can be. All right, a freak off. You can have if you want to be a freak and do freaky things. That's fine. You know, you could. Who is me? Excuse me. Who is me to tell you how freaky you could be or what things you could do in your bedroom? You could do all that, especially if it's consensual. Okay. My thing is, you are sitting up here beating on this woman, forcing things on sexual things on this woman, making your woman do freak offs with strippers hours, many hours at a time, and then many days, many times out of a day, out of a month. You are constantly doing stuff like that with someone you're supposed to love. I don't understand that. Then you are sitting up here using your money to run up in these guys and and these young boys at the time. Like I said, these were young boys. It wasn't just grown men. That's illegal. You should get in trouble for that. Taking these men manhoods, you should get in trouble for that. If you are sex trafficking women without their consent, yes, he should get in trouble with that. This is disturbing, and it's right under our nose. Why people look up to him? A lot of people look up to him. This shit is sad. And to know he went through all these males and all these stars, and you did all this, make us look at them totally different. So, my sweethearts, yes, we gonna be following the case also. Y'all got questions? Comment, hit the bell to be notified, like, share, and yes, definitely subscribe to your motherfucking girl Jennifer. I'm the realest, my sweethearts. Cause I don't know what other commentary get ran like this. Like I said, I'm not running no videos. Everybody we see it on the news, my sweethearts. I dug walk shit, and that's just what it is. And he can get it too. R. Kelly back there, I know Puffy going back there. I know Puffy going back there. I don't know who the worst like out of them two, because R. Kelly did his dirty shit too, but this man here is out of control with young boys as kids at that time. Not like you going up and grown men. These are children. Then they become men, grooming them. Oh no, no. That's what. Then you look back like where the parents at. And I understand where they was at. Y'all letting them go out there with these rich motherfuckers thinking they're gonna get your kids rich like them, have y'all getting this money, getting you out of poverty, and nobody wanna go back to that shit, so they willing to sell their kids and their souls. Unacceptable. Till next time, my sweetheart, was your motherfucking girl Jennifer. I'm the realest. Keep your grass cut, my sweetheart. Stay up, stay visual. Keep your kids safe. It's not a dollar amount that can buy my child. If you already down, stay down. Don't get up for no bullshit. Let nobody mess on your kids and hurt your families and do things like that just to get up there. Hell no. Now this nigga family looking at him like a sick perv. He got daughters. They don't even want to be involved. They don't even condone what their father is doing. Like always, my sweetheart, it's your girl Jennifer M. the realest, and I'm motherfucking out. Say it. Violating children. It's always children. Then trying to violate grown ass men. 50 ain't having that shit. 50 like I punched that nigga in his motherfucking mouth. 50 like, now you better stay the fuck away from me. Terrence Howard says, shit, I ain't turning myself, you ain't fucking with my man card. The G niggas talking. And I'm out, my sweethearts. Somebody playing that nasty shit. They selling people and doing shit to people for fucking money. Cause they big dogs and they think they could do whatever. Now he turned to a small pup day by day. Endorsements, everything leaving, getting taken away from his ass. Do them jail niggas like that over there so they can have something for your ass. And I'm out. Bullying motherfucker.